Hey, this is Jonas Reingold and you watching Planet Metal.
Okay, so Jonas, how did you end up playing the bass and not, let's say, the drums or being a vocalist?
From the beginning, it was like actually I was a guitar player from the beginning, or if I started even earlier on when I was 9, I played violin for like 3-4 years, and then I discovered Kiss and Iron Maiden and those bands.
And they don't play violin?
No, so it was not cool to play violin anymore. So I switched to a guitar. I got a guitar for Christmas when I was 12. So I actually played electric guitar and acoustic guitar for a few years up till I was 16, and I went to the gymnasium as we have in Sweden, not as in here in Austria. The gymnasium starts at 16, and I went there and playing guitar, like a musical education. And between the first semester and the second semester, we had a break, and a friend of mine, asked me if I could sub for the bass player in their band. Sure, yeah, but I don't have a bass, but I could borrow from a friend, so I did a gig.
You can cut two chords of the guitar.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be a little bit thin in the low-end department, but it will work. So that was my start, I would say. But I continued playing guitar for a year or something while I was in school. But later on, I started playing with that band like a half year later, because the bass player stopped playing with the band, and they asked me if I wanted to be in the band. And it was quite popular band in the area where I was living, in Värmland in Sweden. They had many gigs, and we played quite big places. And
but I suppose no one knows the band around here.
No, we never did a record.
What's the name of the band?
Wire.
Wire.
Yeah. So
like the British band called Wire.
Yeah, but this was before internet and everything, so you didn't know. Today you Google, if you're going to create a band, you just Google it. Nobody has this name. But in those days you had to just gamble. And then 2 years later you discover that, oh shit, there's like 4 bands with this name. So no, but that was a good school for me, because we rehearsed a lot. I remember summer we rehearsed every day for a month, like every day. So we were really tight. We were not that good players because we were young, but we were a good unit, and we had good shows. And so yeah,
the bass is not really a really instrument which is in the foreground of the music, like in rock music or pop music, but in progressive rock it's a very sophisticated instrument, I guess, with very virtuous players and things like that, like you are, for example. How do you think is this? Why is the bass in the progressive rock such an outstanding instrument?
I think it's because in progressive rock, at least the way I call progressive rock, the genre that started with King Crimson and all that in the early 70s, late 60s. What they tried to do was actually, if you take Yes, for example, take a record like Close to the Edge, recorded 72. It was not like today. They had maybe 8 channels to record, 16 channels if they were lucky. So they tried to do a whole symphony orchestra with just 5 guys playing music. So every instrument will be important in a setting like that. The bass player has to cover both the rhythmical and harmonical stuff, and also play melodies like in a symphony orchestra. So I think it's because of that. It's like a tradition to try to fill up all the gaps in the music. And then you have to be quite, know what you're doing.
Yeah, of course. But many people don't know what the bass player does. No. So or what the bass is in the music, because practically hear it in most of the songs, except in modern rock music or progressive rock music.
Yeah, yeah. Normally in pop and rock, sometimes the bass is only a frequency that you. It's a sound.
Bum, bum.
Yeah, it's a noise, and to me that's a little bit boring. I think even in pop and rock, if you take like Beatles for example, Paul McCartney's bass lines are really stands out and very clear, and so I would say it doesn't have to be like that. If you have like a creative band, even if it's a pop or rock band, you can still have the bass in the forefront, like Beatles or Level 42, if we take that as an example. So you can do that as well, but somehow the tradition in rock is that the bass should only be do.
Yeah, it's a pity.
Yeah.
Now you set up camp in Vienna some months ago, half a year ago, I guess. Why was that?
Yeah, I was married for 26 years, and I had a grueling divorce last year, and I thought because of everything changed, and I'm 46, so for me it's time to like do my second half in life, kind of. I'm on the death side of things now.
But that's a good place to choose.
So and also I met my girlfriend here in Vienna as well, so she's from here, and so for me it was a good opportunity to just change, do something else, and do something that you're not so comfortable with. Changing the country is a big step for everyone, I think.
Challenging yourself with new stuff.
And you have to learn a new language and new ways of just living your day,
But you're learning language very quick. For example, German. Maybe you can say some sentences in German, which you just learned.
Meine Deutsche ist nicht gut. Ich spreche Straßendeutsche. So ich spreche mit den türkischen Leuten hier in der Straße Deutsch. Yeah. So, but my girlfriend speaks.
That's the beginning.
Yeah, my girlfriend is really good in English, so we are lazy there. So it's hard to actually practice every day.
But you come from Malmö originally. Do you still have your studio there? You had a studio there for some time.
No, I brought it here as well in Vienna. So
you just broke everything down in Malmö and just brought everything here.
Yeah, we packed a big car and drove down.
Okay.
Oh, like that's what we do.
That's fine. So maybe we will have a look at his studio if he lets us have a look at the studio.
Absolutely, I will take you there.
Beautiful.
That's Uber Prog.
That's where the magic happens, actually. This is Jonas's basement studio here in Vienna. What we heard actually was from the new Karmakanic album, which is the second main band of Jonas. There is a new record coming out in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
We heard something of it right now. There are 3 songs on the record. Just three songs, because they're very long. Why are the songs that long?
I don't know. It just happens, I like long songs. I've always been into this concept things, and it's really hard to tell a full story in 3 minutes. So that's why a movie, for example, is normally 1.5 hours. Imagine to do
normally there are short movies as well.
Yeah. But the movies I like is the ones I tend to go to see.
The epic ones.
Yeah. So I think it's about telling a story, and since progressive music is all about that, working with a theme and repeating the theme and going through different keys, and you do changes, and sometimes it's major and then all of a sudden go to minor, but using the same theme. You need time. I tend to say I do a lot of little and not
It ends up as a huge bunch of stuff.
But the fundaments are really simple. It can be like 5 notes that is like defining the song. That is 30 minutes in the end. But I work with those 5 notes over and over to tell a story like the old symphonic guys did, like Richard Strauss and when he wrote like Also sprach Zarathustra.
Yeah, some themes are recurring all the time.
Yeah, and you work with that's what progressive rock is all about, I would say.
You played on I think over 200 releases from different bands and with different musicians. How do you end up with people like, for let's say, Steve Hackett, or with The Tangent, or with Kaipa, things like that, with Mike Portnoy?
Yeah, but it's a small world. Everybody plays with everybody, and it's because you got to make a living. So if I only played with Flower Kings 3 months a year, maybe we can have like with work. Making a record, going on tour and do some festivals and stuff, then I would be really poor, and I would live in 1-room apartment, and
in the studio maybe.
And the chick would have thrown me out a long time ago because I couldn't pay the rent. So so to be able to actually make a full living, you have to do other stuff as well. Unless you play in like a super band, for example. I don't believe the guys in Rush, for example, needs to play in projects just to survive. So
I think they play just in Rush.
Yeah. So that's the best thing that can happen. That you have a band that is so big and profitable, so you can make a living out of that band, and then do fun stuff on the side just because you want, not to make the money.
You got your own record label, Wrangle Records, as well. Are you producing? Are you playing on everything you produce as well? Or you're just producing stuff?
Wrangle Records actually is a vehicle for. I said it from the start that all the records that comes out on Wrangle Records should have my musical input in it. So either I don't necessarily have to write all the songs and play on all the tracks, but I have to have some kind of input, like I'm mixing the album maybe, or helping the guys with arrangement, or writing a few songs, or maybe play a few instruments on it. Because I from the start I didn't want to be just a commercial record label that puts out tons of records a year. So it's like a private little record company for myself. So I have a platform. If I want to do something, it's easy for me to get it out.
So you just concentrate on like sophisticated things like Lale Larsson, just on the piano with you on the bass in the background. Yeah. It's not even rock. It's just jazz music or something. Yeah.
But I try to just release music that I like, and things that I think is good, and that it inspires me more than maybe having a commercial hit. So that's fun as well, of course.
You did have one with the Poodles in Sweden, actually.
Yeah, I have a few gold records, yes.
maybe you can show us the gold records if we are humble enough to get up to your living room.
Yeah, we're standing here in the hallway and admiring the equivalence for success, because in the music business, if you don't have a gold record, you don't actually have anything really. So, starting with this, it was a song I wrote for the Poodles. It was actually, from the beginning, it was a Midnight Sun song that was recorded back in the 90s. I think it was 99. And when the Poodles did their debut album, they re-recorded that song. So, and it sold gold in Sweden, 10,000 copies, and was on heavy rotation for many months in Swedish radio.
We're sitting here in your living room or kitchen, right in front of this huge bass, which Jonas is also playing, as you can see later on. You are born in '69, I guess. Huh? That was a really cool time for progressive rock as well. Do you think you drank some spirit with the mother's milk those days as well, which is still in you?
No, I regret it that I wasn't like born 20 years earlier, because that was a fantastic time for musicians, for art, for awareness among people. People was interested in things. You know, we went to the moon, expanded our minds. We took the drugs. Maybe it's not a good thing to do all the time, but at least it showed interest of going somewhere, exploring, wanting something that isn't there right now, and just looking for something. And all those cool festivals like Woodstock and Isle of Wight and big, fantastic festivals where people didn't do it for the money. They did it for something else, a greater cause. And I also think that because people did it like that, it also came out in quality. Because I think a lot of the stuff made from like 67 to 75 still holds in a good way. Because people cared about the music. It was not a business. Now it's just a business and a matter of being famous, I would say. This song was also a song I did for the Poodles called Seven Seas. And it has a funny story because it's a duet between Peter Stormare and Jake Samuel, the singer of the Poodles. And Peter Stormare is a very well-known actor. He did like Jurassic Park, he did Fargo, Prison Break, yeah, all kinds of films and movies. So that was fun to be able to work with him.
Which bands or collaborations with other musicians were the most fun for you? I heard something about the thing called Swedish Bass Orchestra with like 8 basses and a drum kit or something like that. What was the most hilarious thing you ever did as a musician?
Yeah, that was an important record for me, because that was actually the first record I produced myself. I wrote all the arrangement, I founded the whole recording, got money, sold it to a record company and so on. So that was my first baby project, and it was a big thing for me because I was quite young and we had a big star on the record, Nils Henning Ørsted Pedersen. He recorded tons of records starting in the 50s. So he played with Duke Ellington and Dexter Gordon, great jazz guys, and done so many records, and he's a very important bass player. And for me it was a big thing to call him up and ask him, can you be on my project, this Sweden Bass Orchestra? So yeah, that was one of those. And yeah, I've done many crazy projects, and the whole 90s when I did all the heavy metal albums, that was really fun because we only had fun in the studio. So it was like,
it's all gone now, the fun.
Now it's no fun. No,
still fun.
I would say it was a time when you're learning the business and you're focusing on the business and try to make good money in the business. But nowadays I'm actually back to square one again, where I started. My dream is to go into a studio with a well-rehearsed band, no click track, no bullshit, just 1, 2, 3, and you know, just go live in the studio, like what we did when I started. That's how we did music back in the days. This song, Streets of Fire, was a song that sold double platinum, which means 42,000 singles in Sweden. And yeah, that says it all, I think.
And you saw many places with your bands, you touring the world, you saw many stages, you worked with many musicians of all kinds. Is there any wish, any musician you want to work with, you never had worked with or something? Is there anything left? Are you too busy to have wishes?
No, it's, you know, there are tons of great musicians out there that I would like to work with, of course. I would love to do an album with Yngwie Malmsteen. He was a huge influence on me when I started to like practice music, like practicing on my guitar for hours. So he was a big inspiration to me. And yeah, to do something cool with Rob Halford, you know, or Johnny Mitchell, and just put together this crazy band. Johnny Mitchell, Rob Halford, Yngwie Malmsteen and Paul McCartney playing bass, and I can just stand there and listen.
You don't play with them, you just listen.
No, yeah, I just organizing.
Conducting them.
Yeah. So that, I think, there's many things left to do for me, absolutely.
So, thank God you're not born 20 years earlier, because then you will be in your 60s now. So you have plenty of time left to do all those things. And it's nice to have us here in your own private rooms and building, and showed us your studio and everything. And I think it's time for some beer now. What do you think?
That sounds really good. That's the most fun part of this job.
So let's have a beer.
And those are actually my father's. He wrote one song in his life, and it ended up in the Eurovision Song Contest, like the Swedish version of Eurovision Song Contest. And that amazing. That tells it all, how the music business works. You're writing one song and you get like a double platinum. He's not even a musician. Yeah. The very thought of you makes my heart sing like an April breeze on the wings of spring.